My name is Savannah Hall, and I am a funeral director in Sacramento, California. When I was 6 years old, I had decided I wanted to be a coroner. I was growing up in Idaho, and Idaho does require that a coroner in most counties is an embalmer as well. So I went to Arapahoe Community College in Littleton, Colorado, and that's where I just started falling in love with the funeral profession and decided this was my actual calling. That's where I needed to be. A few years ago, my OBGYN was looking at my family history and noticed that there was a really strong breast cancer rate on both my dad and my mom's side of the family. My husband and I, we went to University of San Francisco for the genetic counseling. I met with a geneticist and she said, "You have BRCA2 positive." I chose to have a prophylactic double mastectomy. The immediate reconstruction was going to start with chest expanders. And we would fill these chest expanders. They go in between your pec muscles, in between the major and minor, and they will fill them over time. And the pec muscle will hold the new implant. And so that just needed to be stretched. And we figured within 4 to 6 months, we would be done. When I first woke up from the mastectomy, I felt really tight. I wasn't in pain just yet, but it was after the paramedics arrived to move me, and when they had started moving my bed, just the normal movement of that bed, I was in pain. This hurts, I started crying, and also in my mind, I just thought about, I just did this, now what? And then we waited a few weeks before we started expanding, and everything looked good, but it was about a week after the mastectomy was completed that my skin just didn't want to heal. It started opening up and it was dead, it was necrotic tissue, it just wouldn't heal. When we had talked about the options for reconstruction, we had talked about multicellular dermises, and my surgeon had decided that my skin was healthy enough and I was young enough that we could just go ahead and use my own skin. My doctor said she really just needed my skin to heal now that she's had to cut away a bunch of it so that healthy tissue and healthy tissue were sutured together. She needed it to heal. So we waited 12 weeks before we would revisit putting back in the chest expanders. But because she had to take away so much skin, she had talked to me at that point that we needed to look into using a donated tissue or the alloderm product to hold the new implant because I wasn't going to have enough skin tissue, and she felt like it could still be very thin, and she wanted to make sure we didn't have the same healing issues that I did the first time. To my coworkers and my employees, I've kind of told them tissue donation is pretty important, and it's a much bigger scope than what we tend to think about. I think a lot of us thought it's lungs, it's a heart, it's kidneys, it's a liver, eyes, but we never really understood where the skin went. We saw it professionally, but we never really understood what happened to it. I've had to embalm folks, and it makes your job a little harder. It certainly is not ideal, but now I have a completely different respect for it. A donor is a selfless person. I'm a donor myself, and I think it's probably one of the greatest things that you can give to somebody you don't know. Living donors especially, kudos to those people. I know there's plenty of them out there, but donors, I mean, it's a selfless act to give part of yourself to somebody else. Get tested. Knowledge is the most power that we can have, and I have been very open about my situation and my process with my friends, with my family. Some people have commented, "You're really oversharing," and no, you should know this because regardless if you have the gene or not, breast cancer is pretty ugly, and I want to make sure that if someone has a similar situation, that they know there's options, go get tested, educate yourself, It's a long process, but you will come out. And sometimes you can come out better than how you went in, but you'll come out.